My doctor said I'd be on diabetes medication for life. He was wrong. Just 90 days ago, I was 75 years old, juggling 3 different medications for my type 2 diabetes. My A1C was a scary 8.5. I felt exhausted all the time. And honestly, I was terrified of losing my independence, of becoming a burden. The doctor's warnings about heart disease, kidney failure, and even blindness echoed in my head constantly. But the real wake-up call didn't come from a doctor. It came from my 7-year-old grandson. One afternoon, he looked at me with those big, innocent eyes and asked, "Grandpa, why can't you play with me anymore?" That simple question hit me harder than any medical diagnosis. It broke my heart. Right then, I decided I wasn't going to let this disease write the final chapter of my story. I was going to fight back. I know what some of you might be thinking. Reversing diabetes at 75. Sounds too good to be true. I was skeptical too. I thought my best years were behind me. But I'm here to show you the proof, step by step, how I took my A1C from 8.5 to 5.7 in just 12 weeks and got off 2 of my 3 medications. And the best part? It cost me $0. First, I want to be crystal clear. I did this with the full support and supervision of my doctor. This isn't about ignoring medical advice. It's about taking control of your health alongside your medical team. So let's get into it. This is my 90-day journey. Week 1. The beginning was rough. I felt sore. I was clumsy. And every part of me wanted to just sit back down in my favorite chair. My wife, bless her heart, was worried I was overdoing it. But she was also my biggest cheerleader. I started with the basics. My new routine had 4 pillars. First, resistance training 3 times a week. I didn't join a fancy gym. I used what I had. Bodyweight squats, holding on to the kitchen counter for balance. I grabbed some resistance bands online for a few bucks and did rows while watching the news. Wall push-ups became a daily habit. And for my farmer's carries, 2 bags of groceries, walking up and down the hallway. It's about using your body's own strength. Second, walking. 30 minutes every single day. Rain or shine. If the weather was bad, I'd march in place in the living room. It wasn't about speed. It was about consistency. Just moving my body. Third, chair yoga. Twice a week. I found amazing, free videos right here on YouTube for seniors. It helped with the stiffness, and honestly, it calmed my mind. And fourth, balance work. Standing on one foot while I brush my teeth. Simple things that make a huge difference in preventing falls and building confidence. Now, let's talk about food. This wasn't a restrictive diet. I hate diets. Instead, I focused on a few simple rules. Protein at every meal: eggs for breakfast, chicken salad for lunch, a nice piece of fish for dinner. I swapped out white bread and pasta for more vegetables and whole grains. I didn't count calories or obsess over grams. I just focused on adding the good stuff in, which naturally pushed the bad stuff out. A typical plate would be half vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter healthy carbs. Simple. By the end of week 2, something incredible started to happen. I was still sore, but I had more energy. I wasn't reaching for that mid-afternoon nap. I felt lighter. It was the first sign that this was actually working. Let's jump to week 4. I went in for a checkup. My blood sugar readings at home had been steadily improving. My doctor was cautiously optimistic. He looked at my logbook, saw my numbers, and said, "All right, let's try reducing one of your medications." I walked out of that office feeling like I was floating on air. It was the first real victory. The skepticism I felt was starting to melt away. My wife saw the change in me, too. Not just in my numbers, but in my spirit. Of course, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. There were days I wanted to quit. The old habits were whispering in my ear.
I remember one rainy Tuesday, feeling tired and sore, thinking, what's the point?
Maybe the doctor was right. But then I'd look at the picture of my grandson on the fridge, and I'd get my shoes on and start marching in place. You have to find your why. My grandson was my why. Now for the big one. Week 8. Time for another A1C test.
I was nervous.
Had I really made a difference? The results came back. 6.8. Down from 8.5. I was officially in the pre-diabetic range. I wasn't diabetic anymore according to that number. My doctor was stunned. He reviewed my food and exercise logs and just shook his head in disbelief. His exact words were, "Frank, this is better than any medication I could prescribe." That's when I knew I was on the right path. That was the moment I knew I could actually win this fight. The final month, weeks, 9 through 12, I felt like a new man. I was stronger, my balance was better, and I was sleeping through the night. I wasn't just going through the motions. I was enjoying the exercise. The daily walks became my favorite part of the day. Then came the final weigh-in, the 90-day mark. I went back to the lab for my final A1C test. The nurse called with the results a few days later. My A1C was 5.7. Normal, non-diabetic range. From 8.5 to 5.7 in 90 days. The doctor took me off a second medication, leaving me with just one low-dose pill as a precaution. I had done it! I hung up the phone and just stood there for a minute, letting it sink in. Then I walked outside where my grandson was trying to fly a kite. He looked over and I said, "Hey buddy, wanna play some tag?" The look on his face. That was my trophy. We ran around that backyard until we were both out of breath and laughing. For the first time in years, I wasn't the grandpa who couldn't keep up. I was just grandpa. My life has completely transformed. I'm not just managing a disease anymore. I'm living. We just booked a trip to see the national parks, something I thought I'd never have the energy for again. I feel 20 years younger. My wife says she has her old husband back. I made this video because I know there are so many people out there who were told the same thing I was, that this is your life now, that you'll be on pills forever. I'm living proof that it doesn't have to be that way. It takes work. It takes commitment. And you must work with your doctor. But it is possible. If I can do this at 75, starting from rock bottom, what's holding you back? Your journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Start today. Thanks for watching my stories. If you want to see the exact weekly plan I followed, check out the pinned comment below. I've also put a link in the description for a free 90-day tracker you can download to start your own journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. You can do this!